This is a little book that I came across many years ago. It's an old book, very old book. In fact, I have stuck it all together. And it's old in the sense that it's been well used and well worn, and I think it was published in, I can see it here, it's here somewhere. It cost $1 way back when, which was a lot of money for a little book. That's how good the contents are. It should say the year, it should say the year, it should say the year. Maybe it was on the front cover that probably covered the cover. Oh, 1948. Yeah, it's a super, super little book, and it's well worth reading, and it's well worth sharing. I need some more tissues. There they are. I really should go out and come back in again, but I don't have to do it. And much of it is about just the basic fundamental things of life and the wonderful, wonderful wisdom of the truth that sets us free. And the book was written by Frederick Lowry and Laura Broadman. And what I like about it is, the first quote begins with a quote from Marcus Aurelius. If you haven't read Marcus Aurelius, who's a Roman emperor a long time ago, he was very much the metaphysician, and he had amazing sense and sensibility of things spiritual. And he's written many a wonderful, wonderful set of things to know. He says here, one universe made up of all that is, and one principle of being, and one law, the reason shared by all thinking creatures, and one truth. See, there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, Science of Mind came along, they thought it was, oh, how neat is this? The new kid on the block never heard anything like this before. Well, since time began, all that needed to be known was known. So I'm going to just read a little piece from the chapter on love, since this is Love Week, Love Month. And what he says, there are times when we feel that a penalty should be levied for the crime of missing great words. Love is one such word. So glib have we become in the use of it. So superficial is our understanding of it. So erroneous is our conception that we have lost much of our ability to grasp its implications and to appropriate to ourselves its reality. And I believe that's very true. I think very few of us actually really understand what love is. And love has nothing to do with feeling. It has to do with the realization. It has to do with the decision I make to be the best person that I can be every day of my life, and then follow the guidance of that, which will lead us very much into loving thoughts, loving deeds, and loving interactions with each other. I don't think we take enough time to consider these things. I really don't, because our lives have become so mechanical and so speedy and so routine. There ought to be nothing routine about any new day. There ought to be an excitement about every new day. There ought to be a deeper realization and appreciation of what we can become in a day, achieve in a day, uplift in a day, mend in a day, heal in a day, fix in a day. It would be so exciting if we all got up with that idea in mind every day. Instead of all the time really over self-focused on our egoic selves. Because when we're focused on the egoic self, my dear ones, we're always going to put our 2 big feet into it. And we're always going to get in our own way. Because when we're coming from that ego sense, we're coming from that limited human sense of ourselves, and we've shut down the opportunity to connect with the source essence of our being. That has no limitation at all, none whatsoever. None whatsoever. So we all think of ourselves in terms of, well, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at that. I'm okay at that, but I could do, I'm really good at that. This is how we think of ourselves. We compare and contrast what we think we're good or not good with. And that's never helpful. That doesn't help anybody. We could focus on our strengths and expand them, but we don't. We focus on our weaknesses and the weaknesses of others, and we expand those mostly. You just have to look out into the world and see what's going on to know that's so. It's not an easy thing, human life. Not at all. It's very complex in its simplicity. Because we're always comparing and contrasting ourselves to other persons, places, and things. And when we do that, we're never satisfied. Because the people we compare ourselves with, the situations we compare ourselves with, is always what we think is far more than we're experiencing. We don't compare ourselves with somebody who is far less off than we are and feel better because, thank God, we have at least this much. No. We're looking at others whom we think have much more than we have, better experiences, better this, better that, better the other. And there is that human craving for what others have we want. That is of good. And if we're being honest with ourselves, we can see that clearly at times. It's not fair. Some people have all the whatever. Fairity has nothing got to do with self-development. Consciousness has. You are your own producer of your own life. You are your own producer of your own good, or not. And what has to do with everything is a state of consciousness. And there are times when we know we need to back away from the world because we're not in a fit state to be in it and be of any good. But to take some time out and contemplate and ask ourselves, is there anything in my life I need to change? Where do I need to change now? You never ask, is there something in somebody else's life that has to change so that I can be better? That's their own business. So when things are not going all of that well, you say, well, okay, is there anything I need to be looking at? Is there anything I need to change? What more could I be in order to alleviate the situation? What more could I be? And ask myself to get back into the moreness of what and whom I am. I of myself do nothing, said the Christed one. It is the power, it is the presence of the one within me that does the work, which means all I have to do is get out of its way by my small, narrow thinking and my whatever kind of feelings I'm entertaining that's not working for me. The way your life is now, the way my life is now, I don't have anyone to blame for that. There's no one to blame. I just have to take charge. I have to take on my own authority. I just have to allow the true essence of my being to move through my mind, to move through my heart, to move through my soul, and set me right. No one out there is to blame for my experience, no one. Now that's the teaching. And that's a very hard teaching for most people. Because on a human level, many times life doesn't seem fair. But that's on a human level, egocentric level. But if I could just move myself out of that energy and get into the inner, essential core of my beingness, trust it. See, that's what you have to do. You've got to trust your inner knower. You've got to trust life is on my side, the universe supports me. Right where I am, everything is that I need in order to flourish and thrive. I trust the process of life and its creative experiences. But unfortunately, you have learned, and I've learned, as we've observed in ourselves and other people, we are always looking for something or someone to blame for the way we are or the way life is. And that is just such a futile, negative way of being, because there is no one to blame. There is only the one, and we don't blame the one. And the one shows up in all of us in bazillions of ways. Absolutely unconscious to almost enlightened, and all the various shades in between. And life is not a graduation like that. It's this. Sometimes I'm near the center. Sometimes I'm so far away I don't even know there's a center. And the further from the center we go, the more scattered we become, fragmented we become, the more depressed we become, helpless and hopeless we become. And that doesn't have to be, but it is a sovereign choice. And it's your sovereign choice. Do I want to make a difference today in the world? Would I like to raise the energy in the world today? Well, in order for that to happen, I must create that kind of energy. And to create that kind of energy, I must not think negatively of any person, place, or thing. Not even a Hitler type. What I could do and ought to do is to bless that individual into their sovereign beingness and their awakened state. Look at any person, place, or so on, and say, this is not what you are, this is not who you are. You are so much more than that. And I choose to relate to the truth of you, not the lie of you. As hard as you may try to destroy life, you will not succeed. And the only thing you will destroy is yourself, the sense of self, and move further and further away from the recognition of your true self. It's a tough business. You really have to have warrior strength for this. You really do. Warrior strength. You can't be mamby-pamby, wishy-washy about it at all. This requires everything from us. And isn't it often the case we are doing well? We're sailing along, life is good, and I think I'm getting it. Oh my God, this thing called life, I think I'm learning how to do it. Then something happens and it all goes to hell in a handbasket. That's okay. As long as you don't start blaming things when you're there, as long as you just shake yourself up and wake up and realize, oh, I've gotten myself into this, now I know I can get myself out of it. By stepping away from it and allowing that which is within me, that is greater than that which is in the world, can move my energy back into balance, equilibrium, and get me through this. And in a way that I actually come through having learned something. We've all been hard on people. And we can only be hard on people because we have first been hard on ourselves. We treat others as we treat ourselves. So in this week, where we're thinking about hearts and flowers and good eats, we could turn that into something marvelous. Say, this week, every day of this week, I am going to celebrate love. And indeed, for the whole month of February, I'm going to do that. Love month. You can go through the calendar and decide what each month is going to be for you with regard to celebrating. January can be the celebration of new beginnings, or whatever. February, love. You decide what March will be and the rest of it too. And then if you give yourself one focus, the probability is that you'll do very well. But if you're trying to do 10 million things, not so much. Your energies are scattered. So this is Wednesday, it's midweek. We can recommit to making this few days ahead of us Ruthie? Okay. There's a discomfiture in the room today, and it began with me coughing. Because there's something about this thing called life as love that we really don't want to dive into because it would demand too much of us. It would ask too much of us. It would ask what we're not truly yet ready to show up as. And that's okay, because we can all only move at our own speed, at our own pace, and it's fine, because we have all of eternity. Oh, I just feel tired when I think about that. But sooner or later, you and I will come home to love. We will wake up in love. And we will know ourselves as love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love never puts itself first. Love is always aware of the other and ready to be in service. Love never boasts, love never brags. Love never rejoices over the misfortune of another, but helps wherever it can. That's a beautiful piece from Corinthians 13. And maybe this week we could read it a few times and see if we, measure up to it in any way. And maybe for the rest of this week we could endeavor to measure up to it every day in some way. There's so many books written about love. There's so many songs sung about love. There's so many poems written about love. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Browning with regard to his wife. So what is it for you? What is it for me? At the end of the day, there's some great stuff in that, but we'll get to it gradually over eons. How did you feel when you came in here? How are you feeling now? How are you going to go through those doors? What will you be feeling? What will your resolution be? Let's just close our eyes and take ourselves inside. Let's take ourselves inside. Take a really conscious, connected breath. Breathe in the love energy that is the essence of the universe. Breathe it into yourself as a healing, unifying energy, and breathe it out as a blessing. And ask yourself, what do I want with regard to this thing called love? What do I have to bring to life regarding this thing called love? If I were to give myself a grade right now with regard to love, where would I land between 1 and 10? And wherever you land, it doesn't matter. It's a gauge, it's a beginning, it's a start. I love doing that because they're all startups. Then you get to decide to move that wider. What do I bring as love today to this experience called life? How does love show up by means of me? Would it be recognized? Would love be recognized in me today? Now, please think of somebody you know who could do with some love coming their way right now. And just breathe in love and see it breathing out as a golden, golden river, a stream, connecting with the heart of that person. Send that energy of love out into the heart of another person who could truly do with it right now. And just know you're making the difference. You truly are. That there is a raised energy in that person. There's an impetus in that person to be kind to themselves, to be caring of themselves, to treat themselves as this precious, amazing individual that this person is. Which is the only reason why we live. To recognize love in each other and to send forward loving kindness, which has nothing to do with depreciation of any kind and everything to do with affirmation. So for the rest of the day, how kind will my words be? How healing will my words be? How warm will my energy be? For there's nothing greater than the healing balm of love. Nothing. And it can be felt. And the lack of it can be felt. But today, let's dedicate ourselves to sending out wave after wave after wave of healing, soothing, calming love. As the poet said, love will do the deed, for with love, stony hearts will bleed. And again, think of one person you know, a different person this time, who could really do with being covered in that beautiful energy of life-affirming love. So we bless all of life. We call it good and very good. We acknowledge that the infinite is all there is, the one. And that infinite is everywhere. And where the infinite is, love abounds. This is what we are knowing for ourselves and every sentient being. The recognition that love is, and all is well. We send it forth out into the universe knowing that it is already responded to. And change has been made. And so, in deep gratitude and loving kindness, we say, and so it is. So indeed it is. And so, my dear ones, now we're going to take our loving offering and we're going to bless it. We're going to know it goes forth to do good. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is. Off you go now.
Freddie the frog got loose.
Freddie the frog got loose. Yes, dear.
I was wondering, I've had the privilege of watering the plants for several years, and I'm wondering now, how can I serve?
Oh my goodness, we'd love you to be able to serve. Did anybody not say anything when we told you that the gardeners wanted to do whatever it is they want to do? We've new gardeners at the moment. And we've always loved Dave coming in here with his lovely energy, and watering the plant pots and things like that. Don't worry, we'll give you plenty to do. You may be sorry you asked. Indeed, sir. Indeed, sir. There's plenty to do here. God knows there's plenty to do here. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. He's one special young man. Anybody else got a question? No, you can't wait to get out there and love, 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 love. I know it. So get up, get out, get at it, and just be that beautiful grace of spirit, making the difference in the world wherever you are. And we can do that from our own chair at home. But know that you do make the difference, and we need you to make the difference. But you're not going to do it if you don't love yourself, if you're not kind to yourself, if you don't appreciate yourself as a unique and specialized, individualized expression of the one. And that you are certainly more than yourself, your small human self. You're so much more than that. Do we get it? Are we willing then to pass it on? Yes. All right then. Let's not waste another moment. And for all of you looking in, likewise, thank you for being with us and sharing your wonderful energy. I'm excited for us all now because I know we're all going to have a great day. And so it is. I will see you on Sunday. And on we'll go, digging deeper into this cosmic stuff and digging up more of its jewels, yes? Take care of yourselves. Treat yourselves well, because when you take care of yourself and treat yourself well, you'll take care of others and treat others well, because you can only treat others the way you treat yourself. That sometimes is not a good thought. So, my dear ones, thank you for being here. I always enjoy being in your company, and Wednesday is always a lovely little relaxing time, isn't it? Take care of yourselves.